Kudos willkommen in einem freagens video. Welcome to another exciting video, in this case part 24 of my Star Trek TOS timeline series of videos. In this video I will cover the human Federation member planets that are referenced in the TOS script. While this list is not extensive, as it only includes human Federation planets, which are mentioned in the TOS script, some of these planets may be colony planets, but the script implies all these are not colonies and with some level of population, which indicates it must be a Federation member planet, which is my primary focus. Well, of course, the first planet that we have to talk about and reference in Tomorrow is Yesterday in Assignment Earth is Earth. Not much to say about Earth, as we all know about it. The Enterprise does visit Earth, but only in the past. The Enterprise never visits Earth in their own timeline, which is quite annoying. My estimate, which is a low estimate of the population of Earth in 2266, is 20 billion, assuming a low population growth and with more than 1,270,000 people, very fertile people, leaving each year for the colonies and starbase. I have no idea if this is correct based on the scripts, as this information is never provided. We never visit current Earth TOS year during the TOS season. Mars is only mentioned in the episode Return to Tomorrow. As mentioned, it's mentioned one more time, but in that case it's the brand name of toothpaste. Mars is the number 2 planet for the Human Federation by a significant margin, although eventually Alpha Centauri will outshine it as it's a more hospitable planet, I would assume. Mars was Earth's first colony, probably with a population of about 1.3 billion in 2266. Bases were established by both US and USSR before 1997, possibly sometime in the 1980s. The development of a DY-100 allowed for its colonisation, and soon a fleet of these spacecraft were moving large numbers of colonists to Mars. Probably had a population of about 200,000 in 2018 and would likely achieve independence about 2039. At least that's my guess. 2050, after some activity or wars on Earth, it became part of the United Earth Territories. Most of this is pure speculation based on really scanty information from the TOS scripts. I'm only dealing with the first planet colonised in the Alpha Centauri system. I'm unsure if there are others, and this is called Alpha Centauri in the TOS scripts. It's possible this is also called Earth Colony 1. This was colonised prior to the invention of warp drive, but probably after impulse drive. This could mean the colonisation could have occurred after 2018, probably beginning in 2020. Zephyrin Coffin of Alpha Centauri was born in 2030 on Alpha Centauri. His parents may well have been part of the first colony ships, although, obviously they weren't native to Alpha Centauri themselves. This makes Zephyrin one of the earliest indigenous Alpha Centaurians, possibly. I doubt it, but it's always a possibility. Alpha Centauri was certainly Earth's first interstellar colony, probably first established in 2024. After development of the DY-500, large-scale colonisation effort was made. By 2124, its population would likely reach 1 million, and in 2266, its population is probably around about the 66 million mark. There must be at least 3 Martian colonies, which I feel are colonies which were founded by Mars and not individual separate domes on Mars itself. I could be wrong, but I'm flying with the Mars creates colonies in interstellar or in another system. My wild guess for possible locations of the first Martian colonies is Epsilon Uranti, which is 10.4 light years, which would become a Federation member planet around about 2144. In retrospect, I suspect the Martian colonies were probably scattered over maybe as many as 3 different systems. As a result, Martian Colony 2, my guess is 61 Cygini A, which is 11.4 light years, which would become a Federation member around 2146, and Martian Colony 3, which is at 61 Cygini B, which is a different sun in the same system, which is also 11.4 light years away, which will become a Federation member planet around about 2148. After Alpha Centauri colonies, these would have been the next 3 largest human population Federation planets in 2260. I have no idea if this is accurate or not, and feel free to totally ignore these suggestions or speculations, as I lack any appropriate Star Trek image to show or even facts if to prove or otherwise my theories. But it's my theory, and I think it sort of flows reasonably well. Because Mars was peeved by not being the number one colonisation effort of Earth, being supplanted by Alpha Centauri, it probably created these three colonies as an act of prestige for itself. The population of all three colonies would have had between 36 and 32 million people by 2266. So, because of this vanity project, they probably ended up being the second, third, and fourth largest human planets outside of the Solar System. The episode Court Martial mentions a planet called Alpha 3, either with a numeric or a word after it. It had a developed body of law with the tribunes of Alpha 3 and the statues of Alpha 3 mentioned, which indicates it was a highly developed and probably an independent Federation member in 2265. I have no idea where it's located. Memory Alpha claims this was the third planet in the Alpha Canaris system, and a colony called Terra 4 was founded on it. I assume it was called Alpha 3 because it was the third planet in the system. As this system is 309 light years away, I doubt this is correct, at least for the TOS timeline. There is an Alpha Eridani 5 mentioned in the second season, Wolf in the Fold, and it could be an alien planet. Why would it be called Alpha Eridani 5 and not Alpha 5? I'm not quite sure, and another indication that possibly Memory Alpha is not correct. Personally, I feel the system should be within 100 light years of Earth, probably actually within about 20 light years of Earth, but certainly within 100 light years of Earth, in order for it to be a Human Federation member planet. But I have absolutely no idea where. Cynet 14 is one of the more interesting planets of the Federation. It was able to repair the Enterprise, thus it was very developed, almost certainly a full member of the Federation. This planet was dominated by women who added feminine touches to the Enterprise computer. While it's never easy to confirm, this was probably a human planet. Deneb 5 is first mentioned by Mudd in iMud. It's unclear if this is an alien or human planet, but Memory Alpha compromises and states the planet is occupied by both species, which seems reasonable. I expect the original species were primitive, allowing the humans to co-occupy the planet, as well as colonise at least one other planet, Deneb 4 in the system. It's also possibly Deneb 4 is a new system, completely separate to this, but unless I obtain any evidence of this, I'll stay with the simplest solution. We do have references to a Deneb 2 and a Deneb 4, both of which are Human Federation member planets. While I originally thought this was alien, it's likely to be another human planet. If alien, it may have been primitive when the Federation arrived, allowing Earth to colonise it. It's possible Deneb 5 became a full member of the Federation in 2259. Prior to this, it was almost certainly a colony. Deneb 4 appears to be a human-populated full Federation member, as there seems to be women compatible with humans on the planet. I have to assume this is a human planet, as that is the simplest explanation. As the planet has recreational facilities for Federation crew, it must be reasonably developed and thus probably a full Federation member. There is another planet in the same system, Deneb 5, which has mixed human-alien population. I have to assume Deneb 5 was the more habitable planet and Deneb 5 maybe less so, although maybe it was more habitable for humans, less for aliens. Thus it has also a smaller population. Deneb 4 could have become a full Federation member when Deneb 5 did. It's mentioned in The Next Generation, and there it's implied it's an alien planet, but I seriously doubt that's correct, based purely on the TOS script. Deneb 4 is almost certainly not a colony, although the women on the planet seem compatible with Earthmen, according to the quote, where no man has gone before. In the hyper-sex world of Star Trek, where different species can mate with each other, this may not mean much, but could indicate that it's more likely to be a human planet. As it provided services that a colony would not be able to provide, this is probably no longer a colony. Deneb 2 is a human-populated Federation member planet. This system is very crowded, although Deneb is 2,616 light-years away, so this must be a completely different star. As a result, the Star Trek Deneb could be a binary or trinary system, which would mean that it would be less crowded per sun, and it's not actually the real Deneb, which is what I think is the case. In the episode Wolf in the Fold, Rejak, or Jack the Ripper, travels to Deneb 2 to feed, as he would only go to a high population location. This is probably highly developed and heavily populated, as such a Federation member. Marcus 3 is likely a human-populated full Federation planet member. It's most likely looked after a number of colony planets, specifically the new Paris colonies in terms of logistics and supplies. I have no idea when this would have joined the Federation or when it would have become a full Federation member. In the episode Galileo 7, Marcus III is a location from which some sort of transfer will occur to a colony planet. Marcus III must be part of the Earth Federation, most likely human, but this is not specifically stated. It's likely to not be a colony, so it's likely a human member of the Earth Federation based on the quotes in this episode. Argona 2 is likely a human-populated full Federation planet, or Federation member planet. In the episode A Taste of Armageddon, we discover that after dealing with MNR7 and dropping off Federation ambassadors, the Enterprise now heads off to another planet, in this case Argona 2. It's likely the Enterprise is returning to a major planet after this expedition, as this was a high-profile diplomatic mission which required picking up Federation ambassadors from a major planet, most likely a full Federation planet. It's possible this could have been an alien planet, but the ambassador and staff were not aliens, so it does imply it's a human-populated planet more than an alien planet. Planet Q was a human-populated Federation member, or possibly even colony planet. As the Acadian Company, as described in the Conscience of the King, went there to entertain the locals, I assume they would have preferred to go to more highly populated planets than an agricultural colony with few people and certainly not much money. In the Conscience of the King, Dr. Layton, which Kirk meets, is human, lives on this planet, and it's assumed the Cardian Company, that's the acting company, was performing for human, thus it must be a human planet. Regulus was a human population Federation member planet. It may have been a good place to set up a business, according to Pike, so it was economically prosperous. I'm uncertain, but it could have been the habitat of the Rigelian bloodworm, as mentioned in one of the very early episodes. Regulus is a planet which Pike was considering setting up a business on. It's probably not a colony, but may have been an Earth colony, which was no longer classed as a colony, or it could have been an alien inhabited planet. The latter is unlikely, as living on a non-human planet may not be viable. Imagine a human setting up a hot dog stand on Vulcan. Rigel 4 is a mainly human-populated Federation planet. There must be aliens on the planet as well, but they are pre-industrial or at a pre-industrial level. It's possible they may even be extinct, but I suspect this is probably not the case. In the episode Wolf in the Fold, we discover Rigel 4 is a highly developed planet with a large police force, must be heavily populated, and a Federation member. It's hard to tell, but it looks like a human planet based on the one specimen we see in the episode. Rigel 2 was probably a human population federated member planet as well. When it became a member is unknown, but it was famous as an entertainment planet. In the episode Shoreleaf, Rigel 2 is mentioned, as the girls on the planet are human, as we can see here. This must certainly be a human planet, and as it has a large entertainment industry, it must be quite developed and reasonably populated, thus a member. The Rigel system, at least according to this diagram which I got from the internet, has at least 4 habitable planets in it. 2 have been covered already, that's number 2 and number 4. 1 is an alien planet which is not part of the Federation, that's number 7. And the last is a mining planet, which I would assume is not habitable, number 12, which probably is way out in the outer reaches. The missing planet is probably Rigel 3, so let's cover that planet. Rigel 3 is most likely human populated, as the Daystrom Institute was based there. If it's a Federation member, it would have become so recently, so it probably only has a population of about 1 million people. In the episode The Doomsday Machine, the Rigel system as a whole was mentioned, and its full population was mentioned, which was in the millions. This includes all the human populated and alien populated planets, of which we've identified 4 of. Alpha Eridani Two was a human-populated Federation member planet. It became a colony in 2154 and a full member before 2264. In the episode Wolf in the Fold, Rajak, or the Jack the Ripper alien creature, travelled to Alpha Eridani Two to feed. As he would only go to a high population location, this was probably highly developed and heavily populated. As such, it must have been a Federation member. Wrigley's Pleasure Planet is a human-populated planet and most likely a Federation member planet as well. This planet is mentioned in the episode The Enemy Within. As the alien creature in the episode adopts the form of one of the women from that particular planet, and the crewmen probably took advantage of the pleasures of that particular planet, Wrigley's planet, we can safely assume it's inhabited by humans and probably an Earth-controlled planet. It's obviously not a colony, but may be owned by a single individual or company. I wonder if the Wrigley's is linked to the chewing gum company. Marcos 12 has a high population, more than 1 million. As the alien took over the 4 children and killed the 4 adults, perhaps the total population of this planet is 2 million people. The planet is mentioned in the episode And the Children Shall Lead. It must be a human world if the children had relatives on this planet. I would expect this planet is reasonably close to Earth somewhere in order to have a population of about 2 million people. The immortal human, which we see here, went to Marcus II and created a great work of art on it. Thus, this must be a very early human planet. The planet is mentioned in the episode Requiem for Methuselah. I'd expect this was an early Earth colony, reasonably close to Sol, which is now a reasonably well-populated full Federation member planet. Ariannus is a human Federation member planet, which is vital as a transfer point on regular space commercial lanes. This indicates it's human, as the main commercial traffic is probably human, with some Vulcans included as well. On the other hand, the population is in the billions, which indicates it's alien. I suspect the answer, is making the planet lifeless would threaten. I suspect the answer here is the population actually is quite low, making it a human planet. And when the quote in the episode is that it would threaten the life of billions, these billions of people are on other planets which rely on this transfer point. The planet is mentioned in the episode Let This Be Your Last Battlefield, and I must admit it could go either way, human or alien. However, for this analyst, I am assuming it's human, and I suspect strongly it is human. Izar must be a reasonably old Federation human planet, thus must be a member planet. Garth was born there. This planet was mentioned in the episode Whom God Destroys. Garth, which was born on the planet, was the commander of the Federation fleet which defeated the Klingons at Axanar in most likely 2245. As most Federation Starfleet captains are human, with the exception of the Vulcan starship, he must have come from a reasonably established Earth planet close to Sol. Centauri 7 must be an old Earth planet, old Earth colony planet, thus is most likely a full Federation human member planet now. This planet is mentioned in the episode Requiem for Methuselah. A great author called Tiel lived there. As that person was the immortal human, this must be a human planet, which has a reasonable population and is most likely close to Sol, and a full Federation member now. And so we come to an end of my part 24 in my Star Trek TOS timeline, in this case covering the human populated Federation member planets mentioned in TOS scripts, as far as I can work out. The episode scripts can be found using the URL shown. Alle guten Dinge kommen zu einem Ende.